To begin with, I'm going to start getting my paper really nice and saturated with this spray bottle. And we're doing this so that the ink can actually create some really interesting patterns. I'm just going to start by taking some ink with the dropper and kind of just throwing it around on the page. You want it to be random and just kind of let the ink do its thing. You'll see that once you place it on the paper, it will start spreading out. And if you add more water, then you'll get even more of this interesting texture forming. So keep doing that until you feel that it's right. I'm also going to add some black ink and kind of do the same thing that I did with the brown ink. Kind of let it work its way and just try and play around with areas that are more saturated with water and that are less saturated. Keep doing this process with the white ink and the yellow ink. If you see certain areas that you feel need more black or more brown, go ahead and add them. And when you're in a good spot, kind of tilt the image around. You want to lift the pages and kind of move all the ink around. Let it blend in with the water until it forms interesting looking areas and shapes. The white paint will actually lighten certain areas. So if you add a little bit of the white pigmented ink, it's going to lighten, say, the brown or make the black gray. So just keep playing with that, and also keep in mind that you can use the dropper as a tool. Just dragging it around will create some lines, some really interesting patterns. It's a back and forth process. So again, if you feel you need more water, add more water. If you want to add more lines, go ahead and do that, because this is a very loose way of creating something that is unique and something that will come from your subconscious. Once you're in a good spot and you like your image, it's going to take a little bit of time to dry. So just let it dry, perhaps overnight, because the next step, you need it to be fully dry. At this point, my painting is pretty much dry. I'm going to attempt to look at different angles and see what I can find within this pattern. I'm going to pull images that speak to my subconscious and hopefully come up with something quite unique. So to begin with, even though there's some areas that are still a little wet, it's pretty good to work. So I'm going to turn around and kind of look at this from different angles and see what I can find. There is no right way. It's just trying to find the image that comes within your subconscious. So I'm going to continue to turn this around and see if I can find something interesting to pull with. I found a couple of images that I could work with. If I turn it this way, I can kind of see a face in there. And it can be either a profile. You can see the profile forming here, like that. So this could be the hair and an arm coming through. Work on legs. Or I can go flip it and have another image kind of come through here. A profile and almost another face coming through here. For now, I think I'm going to work with this image here. I'm going to pull the profile and start kind of working with that. for that reason, I'm going to start using my nib. I'm going to go to my ink, the black ink. I'm going to use my 102 nib. And then I'm just gonna, I like this pattern around here, so I'm gonna keep that pattern, but I'm gonna continue to go in and kind of work with this profile and bring it through. Add certain things. So I'm gonna add a neck. I'm gonna say that this is going to be part of her hair. So just add a little bit to this pattern here. I'm going to extend here her chest and then transform this area here into an arm. Only I'm using the white space as part of her arm. And I'm going to extend the arm like this, and she can hold what this is. This is a loose drawing, so I'm not really concerned with anatomical perfection. I'm just having fun. This, to me, looks almost like a bear skin on her back. So maybe this can be the bear mouth, like the nozzle here, and then do the same on the other side. So this would be the bear. Can kind of see it here. So I'm pulling from these images that kind of come through. And then here is almost her leg coming through. And then I'm going to switch inks and go with a brown ink. Kind of go in and just work with this image. So that will be part of her leg. And then here, it's almost like there's another face coming through. I'm seeing another animal, almost like a dog. And this is a cool little exercise to just not be so concerned with the right or wrong way to do things, but just to have fun. This can be almost like a bird. And this can be a wing of the bird. See how I'm changing it from having her have a leg to a bird? There's the bird wing. And then if I'm doing that, if I'm making this a bird wing, then maybe I can make her have like a dress. I'm leaving this spray kind of open. Now that I've decided that this will be kind of her body, I can go in and separate her more. Next is I'm going to use, after I'm done with the inking, just bringing out these shapes. See, like here, there's another animal. It's either a dog or a llama. But I think it's a dog. So maybe it's a friend. Do you see the bird now? This is the head. This is the tail. So I moved it vertically so you can get a better sense of what the image right now looks like. I'm going to start adding a little bit of acrylic white right here, just a little bit. I'm going to use my brushes, the double O brush. These are worn brushes, so don't use anything that you don't mind getting ruined, because acrylic will ruin your brushes. So I'm going to get a little bit of white, and then what I'm going to do is go into the areas that I feel I can pull out some of the facial features so they'll be more noticeable. The white paint is useful because you can embellish certain areas that you want and also remove areas that you deem unnecessary anymore. As you will begin to see the image clearer, you will realize that intuitively you'll know which area needs to be removed and which one needs to stay. The next step is using the Micron pens, and this is the last step. I'm using the Micron pens just to kind of get a little bit more definition and detail to the face and all the areas that I feel need it. The arm, and adding just almost like a sleeve. Just using the nib to kind of bring in a pattern on the dress. You can use either the nib or the Micron pens and just be creative. There is just so much you can do. You know, you can add these intricate little designs, or you can just keep it as simple as you want. The hair, I'm using the pen to kind of draw in her hair, just adding some really organic lines, and doing the same for the bird with the feathers. There you have it. A very unique way to access your subconscious and see what type of imagery comes forth.